Good morning. I'm being with you this morning from inside because we'd had some weather like 3 or 4 days ago, but it's been so cold that it hasn't melted and the sidewalks are still frozen in places. So my little dog walks so fast, I don't want to slip and slide. But another thing that I've noticed this morning while I was praying and the day before and the night before, and maybe you've seen it too, is this full moon that we have right now. And it's called the cold moon. And it only happens once a decade. Every 10 years, it shows up at the end of the calendar year. And so you and I are going to be 10 years older the next time we see this moon. But it struck me as I was praying and watching the moon travel from high up in the sky, slowly to the horizon this morning, and then disappear from view. And there are clouds in the sky this morning. And so it was almost as though this moon went from the embrace of one cloud into the embrace of another cloud, dipping behind the cloud, sometimes coming out clearly, and other times just the shine, the glow of the moon behind the cloud. But I knew the moon was there. And I know you've seen this before too, where you don't have to see the moon to know that the moon is present. You can see the light refracted all over the land beneath it. And when there's a full moon, you can go for a walk at night. It's like being at Times Square in New York, right? No shadows. You can see everything. And then slowly, as the moon came down to the horizon, the sky was filled with beauty and light from the rising of the sun. So it's almost like this dance that the moon has with the sun, this handoff. So now I swirl onto the dance floor and I swing off and you are present. And there is the sun. And even if we don't see the sun, we know the sun is there. A few days ago, I talked about metaphor and how every word we use, all language that we use to describe the divine, is metaphor. There is no way we can adequately describe what the divine is. It won't fit in our head, and it can't be articulated on our tongue. And I thought that the moon and the sun this morning, and as the light came up with the sunrise, was such a perfect metaphor. God is not the moon. The divine is not the sun. But the divine, the Holy One, is like the moon and like the sun. So that even though we do not see the divine at all times in our life, we know the divine is present. The moon and the sun can be reminders for us of this immense truth, this Christmas truth. Emmanuel, God with us, the divine with us, not for one moment in our life, not present. And so if it helps you, pay attention over and over again to the way nature expresses the presence of God. When you see the moon, you know that God is watching over you, even in the darkest times of your life. When you see the effects of the sun, the growth, the healing that takes place through sunlight, the adjustment of our attitudes through sunlight. And when we don't have sunlight, how many of us fall into depression just because of the imbalance of the chemicals of sunlight that are lacking or present. The sun as well, being this constant reminder, you are not alone. God is with you, always. In the embrace of the divine, you are safe. And you are preferred. God doesn't have a job description that takes God everywhere else in the world, and then, with the leftover time, God will spend it with you. God prefers time with you, celebrates time with you, revels in time with you. So this day, take advantage of the cues of nature around you, but in particular, during this time of the full moon, the presence of God at all times, there in metaphor, moving our lives to the current of the universe, present to us personally, particularly, and preferentially. May God be with you. Happy New Year.